Ryan Karji's parents have been called out online for taking advantage of him since he was 3 years old. On top of that, they just released a movie titled Ryan's World the Movie Titan Universe Adventure, which they spent $10 million on, and it was an absolute disaster. It has an IMDb rating of 2.1 out of 10, received negative critic reviews, and grossed just over $600,000 after its release. It's enough to say the cash cow Ryan is not cashy anymore, and Ryan's parents finally got some reality check. Basically, any movie that grossed less than its budget can be considered a bomb, but this movie grossed so far beneath its budget that it's more like a box office nuke. Released on August 16th in over 2,100 theaters across the US and Canada, the film's screenings dropped to 256 theaters in a week, then 10 the following week, before disappearing entirely. Many people on TikTok shared videos of empty theaters where the Ryan's World movie was playing and expressed their huge disappointment with the movie. These posts quickly spread, showing how poorly the movie performed and how unhappy viewers were with it. Audience reviews were just as harsh, with many accusing Ryan's parents of using the movie as a blatant cash grab. How can one exploit their child to such an extent? Let him live. He's not a little kid anymore. Such shameless people. Cash grab, but fails to be a cash grab. This film is generic and fails to teach or even be entertaining. The box office proves the point straight up. 600,000 versus 10 million budget. That is historically low and completely bombed. To be honest, I'm so glad no marketing happened for this movie because it would have been more of a bomb. Child exploitation definitely is here too, since Ryan isn't enjoying this at all. For the love of God, please let this kid retire and enjoy his life. These parents are so harmful in the head that once he turns 18, he's gonna be screwed and probably be lonely into his 20s. Anyways, this film is cheap and no effort was put in. Goodbye. This film is one of the worst cash grabs ever made and promotes the exploitation of child stars on YouTube. The characters are complete jerks who barely learn anything, animation that is passable but poorly lip-synced, and the most generic story a kids film could ever have that doesn't deliver anything new and fits a 5-minute cartoon more than a feature film. It is filled to the brim with product placement, acting that feels extremely forced and soulless, jokes that either make no sense or are used as filler, and the film itself isn't even faithful enough to the Ryan's World franchise itself, feeling more like a reboot than an adaptation. This is among the worst kids movies of the past decade, along the lines of Norm of the North, The Emoji Movie, and Cool Cat Saves the Kids. On Rotten Tomatoes, the movie has a 58% rating. There were also many negative comments about the film and Ryan's situation in general. This movie is just abysmal. Ryan's parents paid $10 million just to make back not even half of the production value. This is just another way for Ryan's greedy parents to milk what's left on Ryan's internet presence. Let Ryan retire. Another person even claimed that the movie was so bad it led to a breakup in her relationship. Movie was boring as hell. I was the only one in the theater with my friend Jamie, which we now broke up BC of the movie. This guy was so upset after watching the movie that his comment was as long as a mini article. He basically summarizes why the movie made no sense. Just the first 3 sentences of the review are completely damaging, and it gives you an idea of how bad the movie was. Now, I'm not going to read all that. Just interesting tidbit. This isn't a movie, it's a toy commercial featuring a miserable enslaved 13-year-old. I remember getting ready to see Deadpool and Wolverine and seeing this thing plastered in the back as if the staff at the theater was too embarrassed to let people know about this movie. Not only is this movie just a symbol of his parents' greed, but it also manages to have the most idiotic plot ever. This movie is the true definition of whatever pays the bills. Another lazy attempt by Ryan's greedy parents to exploit and milk whatever's left of his internet presence. They threw over $10 million out the window for this movie just for it to not even crack 1 million in box office. LMAO, TikTok was flooded with people posting videos of empty theaters showing the Ryan movie. Love the part where Ryan said, "It's Ryan time," and Ryaned all over them, truly a cinematic masterpiece. They need to let the poor kid retire. Like, bro's almost a teen now, isn't he? A major reason for the movie's failure lies in its demographic mismatch. Ryan, now 13, has aged alongside much of his original audience, many of whom have since moved on from toy unboxings and child-centric content. The guy's voice is literally getting deeper and he's starting to grow a mustache, and that probably isn't the only place he's starting to grow hair. You might be wondering, well, why are they even forcing their own child to make these toy review videos at such an age? Well, it's of course all about that one thing the whole world desires, money. And their pursuit of money has caused them to make a lot of mistakes, including creating a lot of misleading content. During the peak of Ryan's world success, they faced their first major setback in 2019, when the FTC filed a deceptive marketing complaint against them for misleading content. Basically, Ryan's World, since its audience was so young, was pushing ads that kids couldn't even tell were ads. When they saw Ryan with a new toy and loving it, despite being paid to say so, they wouldn't know and would nag their parents to buy those toys. This complaint forced YouTube to remove targeted ads on kids' content entirely, which was a massive income source for Ryan's World. In fact, about 70% of their revenue disappeared.
The FTC, I guess, prohibited the target ads for the made for kids content from YouTube after a certain point, and that the target ad it takes the big role on the YouTube, and after that point, that's the majority of the revenue, the ad revenue. So after that was taken out from the kids content, we lost revenue of 70%.
Also, numerous case studies have surfaced showing how exploitative the situation is, not just for Ryan, but for his audience. Studies show that the content Ryan produces, promoting toys, having toys, and doing all these cool things, is teaching kids to become superficial, and that the channel is now focusing increasingly on its brand and ultimately diversifying beyond toy-related content. Kids are being force-fed the narrative that buying toys and games is the key to happiness. According to Dr. Michael Rich, a pediatrics professor, the videos diminish children's imaginative skills and natural creativity. They focus solely on materialistic happiness, which can lead to mental health issues like ADHD, reduced attention spans, and skewed attitudes toward wealth and satisfaction.
Obsolete. I think limiting screen time is not, but that's really because we want to be doing the other things that when you're on a screen you're not able to do, including being bored, including the creativity and imagination and innovation that happens when we not only have that empty space.
Despite all this, Ryan's parents keep claiming they're evolving their content to align with his age.
One thing we're thinking about is we want to make sure we cater toward the existing fan, 5 to 8 years old are our core demographic. But at the same time, Ryan's growing up and then he has new interests. We want to cater toward his new interests as well, new field.
But despite saying this, it's obvious that Ryan's parents are more interested in securing wealth and maintaining content that will generate revenue and keep kids interested.
Ryan's World channel, the existing one, maybe, like you said, animated character could take over a little bit, and we probably start casting some other on-camera kid talents and then on-camera talents who could carry the same essence that Ryan had. So we still harness the same connection we established through these past years with the fans.
Now, the whole situation is messed up, but it's understandable if we consider Ryan's parents' background. They are both Asian immigrants, and throughout their lives, they've never had money. So this is probably something they've been dreaming about their entire lives. So now that they've finally achieved this self-made billionaire status, they can't stop themselves from wanting more and more. Also, people have been looking deep into the family's past, and it turns out that Ryan's mother, Loan-Gwon, was arrested in 2002 for shoplifting. She tried to steal around $93 worth of clothing from JCPenney at Alameda Mall in Houston, Texas. Loan was 18 at the time and attending the University of Houston. She faced 60 days in jail, but the judge gave her 6 months probation and a $150 fine. She was told that she had to complete 40 hours of community service and undergo random drug tests. The problem is, Loan did not show up to her community service. She didn't report to her community advisor, nor did she pay the fees. She was arrested again in 2003 for violating her parole and spent 30 days in jail. It's quite clear that this hunger for money may have started when Ryan's parents were young. Think about it. They were once so desperate they had to steal. Now, with this cash cow that is Ryan, they are probably just trying to set up their family for generations, so they never have to do what they did to survive. And this is not all. Ryan's extensive exposure to fame and work from a young age raises concerns about his psychological and emotional well-being. Research suggests that child influencers often face stress due to performance pressure, reduced time for socializing, and the lack of a traditional childhood. Even his parents have subconsciously confirmed this point.
We felt like we should explore a different location to raise kid, and at that time it was during the pandemic. It was difficult for kids to go outside or make friends. The only way for him to connect with his friends were through iPad or Zoom, and even go to school, it was over the remote. So
Also, the constant public attention could lead to mental health challenges like anxiety, depression, or identity struggles later in life. And the worst part is that at this point, Ryan doesn't have any legal protections for his earnings or anything he's doing. This is especially true when you compare it to Hollywood child actors who have proper protection of rights. For example, the Coogan law ensures that child actors receive a portion of their earnings, but no equivalent law exists for child YouTubers. This regulatory gap raises red flags about the exploitation of young influencers, their earnings, and their personal rights. Additionally, child influencers are often exposed to risks like online harassment, which makes things even worse. The real question now is whether children can truly consent to their participation in content creation and whether their parents are acting in their best interests. Advocates argue that these young stars inspire and entertain millions, while critics see the monetization of childhood as exploitative. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Will Ryan be able to escape the custody of his trapping parents, or will he be stuck as a toddler forever? Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.